Okay, let's jump right in. Welcome to This Explainer. Today we are unpacking a seriously mind-bending document, Jerry Gonzalez's executive briefing called The Internal Shift. We're going to completely deconstruct the way you've probably been taught to think about success, wealth, and identity. We spend so much of our lives trying to figure out the rules of the game we're currently playing, but we completely miss the point. To change the game, you actually have to change the player. So let's explore exactly how unplugging from your old, traditional programming fundamentally alters your reality.
Right off the bat, we've got to confront a pretty uncomfortable truth. Most of us are stuck in what the briefing calls the time for money trap. You wake up, trade 8, maybe 10 hours of your day for a totally predictable capped paycheck, go to sleep, and do it all over again. It's exhausting, right? Gonzalez draws this brilliant parallel to the movie The Matrix, reminding us of Morpheus's warning. People are so hopelessly dependent on the system that they'll actually fight to protect it. In real life, that defense mechanism looks like skepticism. It looks like a deep fear of change and basically white-knuckling the comforting illusion of that steady paycheck.
And that's exactly why we're digging into the ProfitPalsPro executive briefing today. This isn't just some fluffy motivational pamphlet. Not at all. It serves as a high-end, highly authoritative roadmap for your own evolution. Think of it as the ultimate guide to completely rewriting your personal and professional operating system. It's literally the manual for unplugging.
Now here's the kicker. You cannot win a new game using the rules of an old philosophy. It just doesn't work. If your internal operating system is vibrating at, say, a $15 an hour frequency, you are never going to magically attract a $5,000 a week reality, period. The game isn't necessarily rigged against you. You're just playing a version of the game that wasn't built for you to win. You absolutely have to change your internal frequency if you want to attract a totally different outcome.
So how do we actually begin that shift? Well, Gonzalez shares a pretty intense story from his own evolution. I want you to imagine sitting across from a mentor. You're fully expecting to chat about your marketing strategy, maybe dive into some code, but instead, she just looks at you and asks one simple question. Who are you? Gonzalez answers with his name, but she asks again, who are you? He repeats his name, getting a little confused. She asks a third time, then a fourth. Seriously, take a second right now. Strip away your job title. Strip away your name. Who are you?
By the 5th time she asked him that question, something inside the old Jerry just snapped. The labels, the personal history, the built-in excuses, they all literally just fell away. He realized that his name was nothing more than a default avatar setting, and he responded with the only truth that actually mattered. I am who I say I am. This was his exact red pill moment. It's the mind-blowing realization that your true identity is not something you inherit from your past, it's something you actively code for your future.
That realization right there transforms you into what the briefing calls the architect. If identity is just code, and you are the one holding the keyboard, well, that makes you the empowered creator. You hold the ultimate authority. If you look at your life and you're just not vibing with the player you've been playing as, if your avatar's stats aren't giving you the freedom you want, you have the absolute authority to rewrite the script and dictate a completely new reality.
Okay, so how do we practically step into this architect role? The briefing hits us with this fascinating concept. Success is a frequency. If you're just sitting around waiting until the money physically hits your bank account before you start acting like a CEO, I can guarantee you that money is never going to show up. Why? Because your bank account is merely a lagging indicator. It's just a reflection of who you were and how you operated 3 months ago. It's not who you are today. The internal code has to change first before the external simulation can reflect that new reality.
This technical realignment of your internal operating system totally changes your daily actions. The old code, that's all rooted in scarcity. You're constantly asking, can I afford this? And you spend your time just hoping and praying people will join your business or buy your product. The new code is a totally different ballgame. Your decision-making shifts to asking, will this scale my legacy? Your whole posture changes. You stop hoping, and you become the practitioner who provides the exact solution people are desperately looking for. You communicate with the calm, steady authority of someone who already knows exactly how the movie ends.
But listen, The Matrix definitely has booby traps, and one of the biggest ones is what Gonzalez calls the mentor loop. There is a massive, multi-million-dollar industry built entirely on keeping you in a perpetual state of being almost there. Mentors in this loop profit heavily from your struggle. They sell you the exhilarating feeling of progress, telling you to just hustle harder, but they deliberately keep you dependent on buying their next $2,000 course. They want an army of followers, guys. They absolutely do not want you to become a competitor.
To break free from that exhausting cycle, you've got to fundamentally shift your role. A true practitioner does not want you to stay in the student phase forever. You have to move from being just another replaceable cog in someone else's machine to becoming the architect of your own. When you actually take ownership of the engine, when you own the code, the landing pages, the automations, that mentor loop instantly loses all its power over you.
The briefing actually maps this escape out into 3 very clear stages. Step 1 is the internal shift, which we've been talking about, claiming your identity as the architect. Step 2 is the practitioner phase. This is where you roll up your sleeves and master the tools of the trade. And finally, step 3 is the attraction phase. Once your frequency is dialed in and your tools are built, the world just naturally gravitates toward the engine you've created.
Let's get real about step 2 for a second, because that's where the grit is. An identity shift without action is literally just a daydream. You can't just think your way to success, you have to put in the work. Gonzalez shares his own journey here. He didn't just want to think like a tech guy, he realized he had to actually become the tech guy. That meant diving headfirst into the mechanics of digital marketing. He learned PHP, mastered database logic, and built the very tools that would eventually unlock his own freedom.
And when you put in that rigorous practitioner work, it leads directly to the creation of a wealth engine. This is the moment the ProfitPalsPro briefing transitions from pure philosophy into concrete reality. They give you the actual code, specifically through frameworks like their Elite Hybrid and Wealth series templates. These are systems designed by the architect specifically to power your freedom.
Now, why does their specific framework, the 5K formula, work so well? Let's break it down. First up, dynamic customization. Since you're the architect, you brand the engine directly to your newly claimed identity. Second, automated leverage. Remember that exhausting time for money trap? Yeah, this is your escape hatch. You stop trading your hours and let the system do the heavy lifting. And third, legacy focus. This isn't about some flashy quick hit of cash. It's about building a robust, long-term structure that perfectly reflects that high-end future self frequency we talked about. Basically, your business should look the way you want your bank account to feel.
Bringing this all full circle, the briefing leaves us with one last unmistakable nod to the matrix. I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it. You've seen exactly how the system operates now. You understand the trap of the mentor loop. You know the massive difference between operating on a $15 an hour frequency and coding a $5,000 a week reality. The internal shift is fully laid out in front of you, but actually executing it, that rests entirely in your hands.
Which leaves us with the ultimate choice. Are you going to keep defending this old, broken system that was never designed for your freedom in the first place? Or are you finally ready to change the player and by doing so completely change the game forever? The architect inside of you is waiting to start coding. Unplug today. Let that sink in, and we'll catch you on the next explainer.